Adapt or perish. Now as ever, the inexorable imperative. H.G. Wells. This is perish. So you're stuck in like this sand-ridden desert arena, uh, purgatory. Not how I imagine purgatory would be, but I guess everyone has their own interpretation. Maybe this is the Egyptian version. And Perish is like a solid FPS roguelike. Now, it's described as a roguelike, but it really doesn't have a lot of roguelike elements to it. Um, it kind of feels like Doom Eternal meets roguelite. I'm not sure if Doom Eternal as much as original Doom. A lot of people were comparing it with Doom Eternal, but I feel like it plays a lot more like the original Doom with just the melee focus, and you can get the double barrel shooters and other weapons later down the line. Apparently the focus on this game is more on the melee weapons because they do, I guess, more damage later, especially if you upgrade them, rather than range weapons. Obviously the range weapons keeps the enemies out of your way and out of your face. But so both you and these creatures, you're trying to fight in purgatory, and you redeem yourself on your way to Asylum. And so you're all trying to compete for this gold Denaki, and when you kill these enemies, you earn Denaki. And if you die before you put the Denaki, I think it's to some sort of deity, you lose all your Denaki, so you're back to square one. It sucks. So instead of a traditional life bar, you start off with 3 hits. And this kind of bothers me a little bit because I found it was very easy to die, at least at the beginning. Apparently later, once you get more powerful, it's not a pain in the butt. But instead of sprinting, you can actually dash, which is useful. So you can shift for like a second or two, you shift out of the way. And if you jump a lot, apparently, just like in a lot of FPS games, you're not going to get hit with these melee attacks, especially when you start off with a melee weapon. So the environments, they look decent and visually unique. They definitely stand out, especially when this game came out. It was really heavily hyped. I pumped the graphics up to the max, and I really didn't notice a difference. At least in the first stage, I didn't notice any difference at all. So I thought, okay, well, I've got RTX on, I'm going to take 50% hit. So what was the point of bumping it up? So the game looks like Egyptian or Roman tile sets. And so that was what makes it stand out. However, while the game has some lore, nothing too intriguing really sets it apart. I got into this, I felt like it played like Doom, something I played like, I don't know, 20 plus years ago when Doom came out. And as I said, once you implement RTX, the game performs very poorly. I didn't see a lot of lighting effects, at least in the first level. Maybe later it's a bit more obvious, but I just didn't see how this was a next-gen game from what I played. And the levels feel very static and unwavering, and like Serious Sam or like a blander version of the original Doom. And I think that's the mistake with having like a set tile set where every room, you know, yeah, there's statues and other things and flowing, I guess that's gold or lava, I'm not sure, it looks like gold. But ultimately each level sort of feels kind of the same. And enemies constantly spawn in front of you or behind you, and I find that's really ridiculous. Like, even in the tutorial, you constantly have the enemies spawn in front of you. You don't realize you have to move on just through each step. So I just feel like you're constantly melee attacking, and I guess with the upgrades maybe this gets more exciting, but it just feels pretty generic to me. It just feels like an endless horde mode, and combat just seemed pretty standard fare. Like, despite the tile set, despite some interesting enemies that are a bit unusual from the norm, just like the fact that you can defeat most enemies by jumping and dodging, like, it just feels very repetitive. The game feels like it could have been great. Just the gameplay mechanics maybe being worked on more. It's cool that you can have 1 to 4 people playing a multiplayer, but I just feel like the base game, the gameplay, not that interesting, not that unusual, other than the graphics taking a slightly different style. It goes for $25.79. I feel like it's a $5-10 game from what I played, just because the actual gameplay just loop doesn't feel satisfactory. It's nice to see a game with like multiplayer, with no, but it's got no like in-game or serious story to it. There's a little bit of lore, but like that doesn't really encourage me to keep playing personally. Just feels like a hollow adventure that even pales to like Serious Sam's like intense action and fury. At least Serious Sam, even though the story is very light, there's a lot of humor, and you sort of want to see, okay, what's going to happen next? Where am I going to fight? How many enemies, thousands of enemies I'm going to fight? Here it's like, okay, I don't want to fight these like Power Ranger rip-off Egyptian enemies for the millionth time. So guys, yeah, don't sign me up for that. I don't find this exciting. So I'd say it's a solid 5 out of 10. There's some people that really love this. I just didn't get that. If you must try something different, it just lacks the roguelike features. It claims the roguelike, but really you get like a card at the end of the stage, and it's like, okay, it's kind of like Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood, I mean. So in that sense, it's a kind of a roguelike, like 5%. So I just feel like there's not enough purpose to warrant a playthrough, and maybe since there's so many FPS games out there, there's got to be something coming along. Or if you want something that has lore and is exciting and pretty and shiny, Godfall, I loved it. I played a lot of it, so I'm biased towards that. So go to Godfall. You know, keep on gaming and follow the beautiful RTX graphics of Godfall. All right, bye.